Atomic habits, the tiny changes that can transform your life. What if I told you that improving your life doesn't require huge motivation or big life-changing decisions? What if becoming healthier, smarter, richer, or more successful only required improving by just 1% every day? It sounds small, almost too small to matter. But according to one powerful idea, these tiny changes can completely transform your life. And that idea is exactly what the book Atomic Habits is all about. Atomic Habits, written by James Clear, has become one of the most popular self-improvement books in the world. Millions of people read it because it teaches something very powerful. Success is not about big motivation or big goals. Success is about small habits repeated every day, tiny actions, tiny improvements, tiny behaviors. But when those tiny actions repeat every day, they slowly create massive results. In this video, we're going to explore the most powerful ideas from this book in a simple storytelling way. And by the end, you might start looking at your daily habits in a completely different way. The power of tiny changes. Imagine two airplanes leaving the same airport. Both are flying to the same destination. But one airplane changes its direction by just 1 degree, only one tiny degree. At the beginning, the difference is almost impossible to notice. But after several hours, that airplane lands in a completely different city. That is exactly how habits work. Small daily actions may feel meaningless today, but over months and years, they shape the entire direction of your life. Eating junk food once may not harm you. Skipping exercise today may not matter. Procrastinating once may seem harmless. But when those actions repeat every day, they slowly create a life you didn't plan. The good news? The same thing works in the opposite direction. Tiny good habits repeated daily can slowly build an amazing life. But here's the surprising part. The problem most people have with habits is not laziness. It's something else entirely. And the next idea explains why. Goals are not the real problem. Most people believe that success comes from having big goals. I want to lose weight. I want to become rich. I want to build a successful business. Goals sound exciting, but here is the truth. Goals don't change your life. Systems do. Let's imagine two students preparing for an exam. Both students have the same goal, to get the highest score. But one student studies every day for 1 hour. The other student studies only the night before the exam. Both had the same goal, but their systems were different, and systems determine results. A system is simply your daily routine, what you do every day. Your habits create your system. So instead of focusing only on goals, focus on building better daily habits. But here's something even more interesting. Your habits don't just change your results. They actually change who you believe you are. And that leads to the next powerful idea. Identity-based habits. Most people try to change their habits by focusing on results. I want to lose 10 kilos. I want to read 20 books. I want to wake up early. But the book explains something powerful. Real habit change begins with identity. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask, who do I want to become? For example, instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, say, I want to become a runner. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, say, I want to become a writer. When your identity changes, your habits follow naturally. Think about someone who says, I am not a smoker. For that person, refusing a cigarette feels natural, because it doesn't match their identity. Every small habit you perform is like a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you read, you vote for becoming a reader. Every time you exercise, you vote for becoming a healthy person. Every time you work on your skills, you vote for becoming successful. But now comes the biggest question. If habits are so powerful, why are they so hard to build? The answer lies in a simple 4-step habit loop. The 4-step habit loop. Every habit follows the same pattern. 1. Cue. 2. Craving. 3. Response. 4. Reward. Let's see a simple example. Imagine you hear a notification sound on your phone. That is the cue. Your brain becomes curious. Maybe someone sent you a message. That curiosity is the craving. You check your phone. That is the response. And when you see the message, you feel satisfied. That is the reward. Your brain remembers this cycle. And the next time you hear a notification, you repeat the habit automatically. Understanding this loop is extremely powerful, because once you understand it, you can design better habits intentionally. And the book introduces 4 simple rules for doing exactly that.
But the first rule might surprise you. Rule 1. Make it obvious. If you want to build a habit, make the cue easy to see. For example, imagine you want to start reading more books. Instead of hiding the book in a drawer, place it on your pillow. Now, when you go to bed, you see the book. That visual reminder becomes the cue. Or imagine you want to drink more water. Keep a water bottle on your desk. Every time you see it, you remember to drink. But here's something even more interesting. You can also use this rule in reverse. If you want to break a bad habit, make it invisible. For example, if you want to reduce phone usage, keep your phone in another room while working. If you want to stop eating junk food, don't keep it in your house. When the cue disappears, the habit becomes much harder to perform. But seeing a cue alone is not enough. Your brain must want the habit. And that leads to the second rule. Rule 2. Make it attractive. Your brain naturally wants things that feel enjoyable. So, if you want a habit to stick, make it attractive. For example, imagine you want to exercise regularly, but exercise feels boring. So you combine exercise with something you enjoy, maybe listening to your favorite music, or watching a show while running on a treadmill. Now exercise becomes more attractive. This technique is called temptation bundling. You combine something you need to do with something you want to do. Another powerful way to make habits attractive is social environment. Humans naturally copy the behavior of people around them. If your friends love reading, you will read more. If your friends love fitness, you will exercise more. Environment shapes behavior more than motivation. But even if a habit is obvious and attractive, people still quit sometimes. Why? Because the habit feels too difficult. And the third rule solves that problem. Rule 3. Make it easy. One of the biggest mistakes people make is starting habits that are too big. They try to do too much too quickly. For example, someone decides to start exercising, and on the first day they plan to work out for 1 hour. After 2 or 3 days, they feel exhausted, and they quit. The book suggests something much smarter. Start extremely small. Instead of exercising for 1 hour, start with 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. It sounds silly, but it works. Why? Because the hardest part of any habit is starting. Once you start, continuing becomes easier. Reading 1 page often turns into reading 10 pages. Doing 2 push-ups often turns into doing 20. Small habits remove resistance, and when a habit becomes easy, it becomes repeatable. But there is one final rule that makes habits stick permanently. Rule 4. Make it satisfying. The human brain loves instant rewards, but many good habits have delayed results. Exercise today, results appear months later. Saving money today, benefits appear years later. Because the reward is delayed, motivation disappears. So the book suggests creating immediate satisfaction. For example, after completing your habit, track it, mark it on a calendar, or check it off in a habit tracker. Seeing a streak of successful days creates a powerful sense of progress, and your brain starts to enjoy the habit. Another rule related to this is simple but powerful. Never miss twice. Missing 1 day is normal, life happens. But if you miss 2 days in a row, the habit begins to break. So always return immediately, even if the effort is tiny, because consistency matters more than perfection. But here comes one of the most powerful insights in the entire book. And this idea
explains why small habits become life-changing. The power of 1% improvement. Imagine improving yourself by 1% every day. That sounds tiny, almost meaningless. But something incredible happens over time. Small improvements compound. Just like money grows with interest, your habits grow with repetition. One extra page read daily becomes dozens of books over years. A few minutes of exercise daily becomes long-term health. Small savings become financial freedom. But the opposite is also true. Small, negative habits slowly damage your life. Tiny daily laziness, tiny daily distractions, tiny daily bad choices. Over years, they create big problems. So the real question becomes, what tiny habits are shaping your future right now? And this brings us to the final message of the book. Most people wait for motivation to change their lives. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect energy. But life rarely works that way. Real change happens through tiny daily actions. One small habit, repeated again and again, day after day, year after year. You may not notice the change tomorrow or next week, but one day you look back and realize your entire life has moved in a new direction.
That is the quiet power of habits. They don't shout, they don't appear dramatic, but they slowly shape your future. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself one simple question. What is one tiny habit I can start today? Because the smallest habits often create the biggest transformations.